Hello everybody, my name is Chad Barker. Today we're going to go through a little tutorial here on how to use a Viking 30-inch wide wall oven, and how we're going to install them into our cabinets. Now obviously we're going to have to get into some stacking of the cabinets together. So our cabinets are designed so you can put like a drawer stack down below, and then a wall appliance case, and then another wall appliance case, so you could, and then a wall two-door cabinet up above it, stack them all together, and bam, you got yourself, a real tall cabinet. It's very complicated. You got like your wall oven, you got a microwave with a trim frame around it, and then more storage up top. These don't come in a single unit. You have to stack each one together, and this is how they're designed. It's worked out really well in the past, as you can customize it really however you need to. So let's get started. Let's open up the specs here. We got an oven cabinet. It's a single tall cabinet wall oven. Okay, so we're going to assume that it's going into a tall cabinet, and I'm going to take you from start to finish here, so we'll work through it together. 30-inch single electric touch oven, so we know it's 30 inches. And we're going to want to go to Viking's page. Go to Downloads. And then go to the installation instructions. Once that downloads, we're going to pull that up. There's a whole bunch of different information here, so don't get too overwhelmed. It's not a big deal. It's pretty simple. So first thing we want to look at is they should have some sort of a cabinet spec cut out, which is what this is right here. And we know we're doing a 30-inch wide built-in, so that means we need to go to this guy right there. Let's zoom in on that. Get it centered, that'd be great. There we go. Okay, so first thing we want to look at is highlighting a few different points here. And one thing that I want to look at here is we got an opening width of 28.5. Now Viking makes a pretty low profile oven. Pretty much everything they make is on the high end, and it'll work with a frameless cabinet. So we have a 28.5 inch wide opening, and so obviously we're going to need to order a 30-inch wide appliance case cabinet. Now, basically, to take a look here, we're just determining opening width right now. Let's go to tall cabinets and then go down to appliance, which is this guy right here. And we're most likely going to be using either this top one right here, the appliance case, or we're going to be using this one down here, the appliance case with wide rails. Now, the way you can tell which one you need, there's a couple of different options here. You have a wide rail on the top and a wide rail on the bottom of this one, and that's for if the cabinet or the oven overhangs the top and the bottom more than 3/4 of an inch. So let's try to determine that real quick if we can. And it doesn't really say. Let's just take a look here. So one way to figure it out, notice how it just says the width and then the height. It doesn't say how much overlap there is. But we can take a look here. 28 3/4 is the overall height. Now go down here and look at the height, 28 1/8. So they're real low profile. That's only, that's less than an inch. And the dimensions I'm looking at here is this guy, 28 3/4. So what is that? That's like 5/8 of an inch. So it's going to overhang the top and bottom by like 3/8 of an inch at maximum. So we'll be good with the regular appliance case, and that's going to be this one. So let's open that one up. And the things we're going to look at first of all is the width. Now the width of the appliance case, it basically needs to be 30 inches in this case. And the reason it's going to be 30 inches is because you need 28.5 inches from the inside left to the inside right of the cabinet. And I got that from this dimension right here, 28.5. Our cabinet's made out of 3/4 inch plywood on each side, so that's pretty obvious. Next thing you want to do is the opening height, and that's going to be 28 1/8. Okay. Most likely it's better if our cabinets are on 1/4 inch height increments. So you're going to want to round that up to 28 1/4 for the opening height. And then what you want to do is, since our cabinets are 3/4 inch plywood, like I just stated, 3/4 inch plywood up here and 3/4 inch here, we're going to take 28 1/4 and add 1.5 inches. So that's going to be what, 29 3/4. So basically, let's go, height is 29 3/4. The width is 30, height is 29 3/4. Depth, obviously, you're going to want that to be upwards of 24 inch deep from the front to the back. But there's one thing to look at here, and I want everybody to look at this because this is one of the things where you can get really hung up. Whenever building a tall cabinet stack, notice how they want the opening width or opening depth here at 24 inches exactly. Now, going to our cabinet, notice how we have nailers in the back of the cabinet. And those nailers are 3/4 of an inch thick. And that's good. If you order a cabinet at 24 inches in depth, from front to back, you're going to have 23¼ inches of depth, of usable depth, because you're going to hit that nailer. And there's a couple of options here. And the first thing is you could just install this cabinet without the nailers and just make sure that your finished in panels and stuff are real tight onto that cabinet, and everything will be held together just fine. Our cabinet's made out of 3/4 inch thick American-made plywood. The nailers are just there because some things are weighted. You have to have like 300 or 400 pound capacity, and that makes them pass code. Now, another option here is to order the depth at 26 inches, and that would make your entire stack, your entire tall cabinet stack, would need to be 20 inches from the back to the front. And I like doing 26 inches. That's a whole other tutorial. The reason I like doing tall cabinets at 26 inches is because if you have base cabinets to the left or the right that come into the finished in panels, you have a 2-inch step out on the tall cabinet where the countertop can kind of die off into the finished in panel without having a funky little nub sticking out, so to say, of the countertop on the edge. It's kind of hard to follow there, but it just looks better if your tall cabinets are 26 inches, in my opinion. So that's pretty much there. I would recommend doing a 30-inch wide, 29.75 for the height, because we already talked about how the opening height is 28 1/8 plus 1/8 of an inch of extra clearance. Depth would be right around 26 inches. Obviously, these things right here, just to confirm what I just told you, it's the formula to how to determine your width, height, and depth. And then the rest of the stuff is just the face of the cabinet and your clear coat finish and stuff like that for the face. So that's pretty much it. So I would order, in this case, I would order a 30-inch wide cabinet, 29 3/4 tall, and 26 inches in depth. If you want to, you can go down to 24 inches, but do not forget to not install, or you don't want to install the nailers in that case. Highly recommend going with 26 though. Okay. Other than that, kind of a little addition here. So I'm going to get into a little bit more of a what's called a stack operation. So let's do this real quick for you. What I'm going to do here is just draw. This is just kind of my cabinet vision program where I can kind of play around with it. Now, what I'm going to do is draw a single drawer base cabinet, 36 inches wide by 26 inches deep. We've already determined that. We know that our cabinet's going to be ordered at, 30 inches wide by 26 inches deep. That's our, we need to follow that when we're doing a stack. So 30 inches wide. I'm going to do 12 inches tall, 26 inches deep. So as long as your width and your depth are the same on all the cabinets you're stacking together, you're good to go. I'm also going to do a wall appliance case. If I can find it. There it is. And that's going to be 30 inches. 29.75 if I remember correctly. 26. Okay, take a look at it in the forward view. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just stacking the cabinets. So far, I have a base 1-drawer cabinet down below. I have this wall oven cabinet here, and obviously you can move this up. You can increase the height of your base, your drawer base cabinet. You can go all the way up to, I believe, like 24 inches tall. Get that thing farther off the ground. I'm just doing this as a real quick example. Next thing you can do is stack something on top of here. So there's lots of different options there. You might think of doing like tray dividers or just some tall doors. That's an option too. Another option here, since I actually don't really like this personally, let's do an elevation of, say, 26. That'll bring up to more of a waist height level. And let's do a base 2-drawer down below. That way we have some pots and pan storage. All right. And what I'm going to do is just make this the same height. So we know it needs to be 26 inches tall. Center line. Let's make it 50. Center. Sorry, just working a little bit here. So, okay, so then 30 inches wide, of course. Depth needs to be 26. Center position needs to be 50 for this stack. Now you got the oven right here. 2 drawers down below for, say, pots and pans here, or down below, and then you can have like maybe lids or, whatever else you want to put there. Cookie sheets. So up to you. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm also going to add a wall 2-door cabinet up above. And I'm just going to center it up. I'm going to add... And I'm going to make the width 30. And the depth is going to be 26. So I got a wall 2-door cabinet here. Same width, same depth from front to back as the other 2 cabinets down below. Now, obviously, I don't have the oven drawn in, so you're not going to see, you notice the interior material here is going to be a little different. but let's take a look and see what it looks like in 3D. Okay, so here we go. So basically we have a 2-door stack down below. We got our oven cabinet right here, and obviously you can move this around. You don't have to do a 2-drawer stack. I just kind of threw that in there. A wall 2-door cabinet up above. You might even think of doing like some tray dividers up above. That's kind of cool. And then this whole cabinet stack ends up being around 90 inches tall, made up of 3 cabinets. Now, one thing you're going to want to remember to do when you have a cabinet stack like this is most likely this end right here, you're not going to have it fully covered. So you need to make sure you have an end panel, a finished end panel ordered for this end. And the other end too, if you know, if it's there, if you have, if that's going to be exposed to view in the kitchen, because there will be construction holes showing on the sides of these. Now with that applied end panel, that'll give it a real nice flush look. Then you can also trim this thing out with some crown molding up on top. You can see our millwork section for that. And then you just have your base cabinets run right into the side of this. Now another thing I want to show you is how the base cabinets and countertop work. I talked about that a little bit earlier, but let's go through it again. I'm just going to get a that's an ugly cabinet. Don't like that one. 2-door base cabinet. 24 inches deep. Notice how, since we stepped out the tall cabinets a little bit. Let me put the finished end panel on there too. Okay, I'm going to put a tall finished end panel. Sorry if this is taking long. I'm not trying to waste your time. I just thought this might be kind of a cool thing. Okay, so that was 92. And now the depth of the finished end panel is going to be 26 and 5/8 to cover that side. This part, this base cabinet is going to go right into the side. Now let's take a look here. Now if we see here, I'll color this in so it makes more sense. Okay, so basically this tall cabinet section steps out to 26, or really 26 and 5/8 because that end panel. Now your countertop will sit right on top of this base cabinet, and it'll just die right off into the face of this this end panel. Now, if the pantry cabinet was in fact 24 inches deep, you're going to have a little nub. Usually the countertops extend out by about 1.5 inches, so you're going to have like a little nub of the edge of the countertop that's going to be showing. You're going to make sure the countertop guys finish that off or polish it or whatever they do. So I think it looks better if you just run it off straight right into the side of the end panel. Gives you a little bit more room here, a little bit more depth for your drawer boxes down below. And I think it's just more of a professional way. That's what we would do it for a high-end project. So that's pretty much it. So base cabinets right here, finished in panel, tall cabinets. Pretty much that's pretty much all we really need to talk about here. Feel free to give us a call or email. We're always up for answering any questions you have. Thanks again. My name is Chad Barker with Barker Cabinets. Thanks again. Have a good day.